It's that time. It's Friday. Ready for the party? Yeah. I pressed the wrong button. I do that every time. Every single time. Okay. It's FriYAY edition of Ask a Traffic Cop, and we're starting it off with another song because I like them. Isn't that the best reason? Yeah. Let me know what you think of this one.
Hong Kong, here we go.
Oh, no. I did it again. Another button not pressed the right way. See, I was doing a presentation in the office. Had it switched so that... anyway, here we go. Right button correctly pressed, and...
Cruising down this road, oh no, drivers. Hong Kong, here we go. Cruising down this road, oh no, drivers all around, messing with my flow. Entitled, thinking it's just all about the show. Lane changing, brakes slamming, oh what a sight. Me, they're in their own little light, blowing through red lights, so reckless and blind. Can't they see safety is what we should find? Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the most entitled of them all? Tailgaters, speed demons, cutting everyone off. Got me stressed, feeling like I've had enough. Feeling like I've had enough.
Okay, I had enough of that song, but I did have fun with it. You know, again, Suno.ai, doing cool things. I think it's worthwhile, so I bought an account. But you can do it for free. And I'm not endorsing anything other than I think it's really cool. Not an advertisement, kind of a promo, but it's because I like it that I think you would like it. Thus, I share it with you. Okay. Good morning to Julie, who joins us right there on the screen from YouTube. And then what do we got? We got greetings and salutations from Michaela. We've got good morning from Tien. We've got a quote from Sun Tzu that we will share later. Interesting. We've got people joining in from TikTok. Good morning to you. It's Friday. I guess we have a very, very relaxed morning. Let's get into what we got to get into and talk about Vision Zero Enforcement Team quickly, because then I can move on to questions for you, from you, about you. You know what I'm saying. This is a show that answers questions about traffic law, traffic safety, and police stuff in general. We talk about recruiting. We talk about all sorts of things, traffic, and then occasionally donuts and internet stuff and scams and whatever else comes up. Well, we're totally into helping you out. First things first, we're talking about Vision Zero Enforcement Team. They are a group of officers who go out every single day trying to change driver behavior. Oh, yes, there are some folks out there who don't like following the rules, and, well, what these officers do is find them and then hold them accountable. They do that by writing them tickets. Yes. Oh, sometimes they arrest them. Mm-hmm. They focus on the big four, the offenses, the driver behaviors of speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, and impaired driving. And today, and only today, at least, well, this week, they're in 22 and 41. Those divisions include neighborhoods like Etobicoke West Mall, Queensway, Dorset Park, Kennedy Park, Birchcliff, Cliffside. Those are neighborhoods where real people, yes, real people. They live, work, and play there. They deserve to be safe, and we let them know when we're there, because wouldn't you want to know? I'm sorry, I'm distracted as I'm looking there. I'm trying to get into my own account so I can monitor and mute those who choose to be less than friendly. Not that, sometimes they're disruptive in the chat. The chat is for you so we can get questions and answers going, but when people come in there and, they act like trolls, well, we want to remove them. Remove them. Oh, hey, I see questions and comments coming in from TikTok. That's awesome. The link is working. Also, if you're watching on a platform other than YouTube or TikTok, well, we actually have a bunch of them. We're going out on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and, of course, X. And X now has the functionality allowing you to ask questions. Drop my water. And then okay, quick aside. I was watching TikTok yesterday. Was I watching it? Was I on it? I was utilizing TikTok, and a friend online, a creator that I follow and that follows me, put out a video talking about hosting a radio show and what she does when she makes a mistake, or when she makes a mistake on live radio and she's alone. It's bad because no one's there to make fun of her, and the moment is completely missed, and that's it. But my response is when I mess up online, which I do all the time, I just make fun of myself. It's no loss. But it is better when Sergeant Campbell's here and he makes fun of it, because then it's just, it's better. But no problem making fun of myself. If you miss the show, if you can't listen to us live, it's available online. But it's also available online as a podcast. So you can actually synchronize it to your device, and while you're driving, listen to it without burning your data or giving yourself the potential of a ticket. Because guess what? If you're watching this live while you're driving, and so many people do these things, not necessarily our show, because people who watch this show know the law more so than others. That said, we want you to be safe. So consider following us online. TrafficCop.ca gives you links to all of our social media. Every single place we are, links are there. So if you go in and subscribe to all of our channels, that would be great. If you're watching on a channel now and aren't already following us, well, what are you waiting for? Go follow us, because it helps keep you in the know. You get notified when we go live, when we post new content, and that's good for everybody. Yeah, we don't make money at this. We do it because we want you to be safe, happy, and healthy, and so on. Okay, we've got Michael who says, good morning. I added the good. He says, just morning. Yesterday, I had a dad joke, but sent it before the show. If comment is too early, Restream loses it. Sometimes. So send it again now, Michael. We'll include it for today's. Chase is back. Hope you're feeling good, brother. Chase has been away from the stream for a while, but we've been chatting in Telegram. We have a Telegram group, telegram.trafficcop.ca, if you want to join the party. But by all means, talk to us. And Chase, I'm glad you're back. Unfortunately, he says, can't stick around, but I hope to be back at it soon. Hope everybody watching at 9 Hannah is doing well, and at 9 Hannah are doing well. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And we miss you. Chase, if you don't know Chase has been around with the show for quite some time, and he asks the best questions. He adds a lot of stuff and things to the show. He's someone who's been actively participating, and I call him my friend. Why? Because we meet up, we've gone for food. He's a nice guy. All right. I don't know why. Can you elaborate? Before I can elaborate, I need you to elaborate. Elaborate about what? Wow. Okay, moving along. Yeah, I'd happily elaborate if you let me know what you'd like elaborated. It's FriYAY, and I am having fun. It's not the button I wanted to press. This is the button I wanted to press. It was behind my phone. I couldn't see it. That's the excuse I'm going with. Okay. What is this? My son was walking on the sidewalk to school today, and someone drove over the grass onto the sidewalk. Really? Okay. They simply drove. I'm trying to figure this out. Did they hit your son? Did they come close to hitting your son? What exactly happened? They just parked on the sidewalk? I need to know more. But, driving on the curb over that area of grass called what is it called? It's called it escapes me right now. Boulevard? Is it the Boulevard? Anyway, the grassy patch they're not supposed to drive on because the road is for people, for cars, and the grass and the sidewalk are for people. Did you get a license plate? Did your son get a license plate? Are they being reported? What is going on? Tell me more. There's the dad joke from Michael. We flagged it for later. Michael responding to seeing Chase in the chat. It's been a while. It really has been a while. Tim Shallow says, good morning, Sean. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you. And user many numbers says, can I drink non-alcoholic beer and drive? Non-alcoholic beverages are non-alcoholic beverages. And yes, you can consume them while you're driving in Ontario. Other provinces may have issues with you consuming water. I have been told that distracted driving could be a thing elsewhere. But the deal is that here it is legal. But if you're drinking from a bottle that resembles a beer bottle, expect to get pulled over, expect to be investigated, expect to provide a breath sample. But the fact is that's because they'd be trying to figure out what's going on and investigating you because it looks like something. And if there's an odor of an alcoholic beverage, even though there's no alcohol in it, we're going to test. So while it's legal, you may be jumping through some hoops. Let's see here. I don't understand. Somebody, okay, dialogue in here. Is 100% alcohol? Oh, Now I get it. All right. Can you elaborate further on your post about BAC? You said you had to be below 0.05. So you're elaborating on something that was not discussed today. This makes sense as to why I had no idea what you're talking about. So we had a post about BAC. I don't know which post we're talking about, but yes, if you are driving in Ontario, you must have an alcohol or a blood alcohol content limit or level under 0.05. Because if you have 0.05 to 0.079, you're going to receive a suspension, a roadside suspension. 3 days on your first one. If you do it again within 10 years, it's 7 days. Third time, I think you end up going in for some counseling. But that's the deal. 0.05 is the limit for permissible driving. Now, you could be at 0.25 and be impaired, but that's based on blood alcohol content alone. That's the limit for Ontario. 0.05 to 0.079. That is the threshold that is considered not legal to drive, but not criminal. 0.08 is when you get into criminality. Now you are impaired operation, or you're not impaired operation, but it's under that category. You're driving with more than the permissible blood alcohol content, and it's a criminal charge. That's when you get arrested and you get taken to the station for further testing. Hopefully that elaborates sufficiently for you, but let me know. Abby says, I love your live, sir. I think it's very cool. You love your job and you are so educated on the laws. Thank you, Abby. I appreciate it. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Hong Kong, here we go, cruising down this road. Oh no, drivers all around, messing with my flow. Entitled, thinking it's just all about the show. Lane changing, brakes slamming, oh what a sight. Me, they're in their own little light, blowing through red lights, so reckless and blind. Can't they see safety is what we should find? Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the most entitled of them all? Tailgaters, speed demons, cutting everyone off. Got me stressed, feeling like I've had enough.
Sorry about that. Something came up. All right. Well, I appreciate the support, Abby. I do love what I do. And apparently Abby is coming to Toronto today. Welcome to Toronto. When you get here, have fun and be safe. Traffic might be a little more than normal because there's fewer lanes available. So know ahead of time where you're going, but have fun while you're here. Hi, Hero. Thank you for what you do. That's from Linda. Thank you, Linda. Linda's a big supporter of emergency services, first responders and such. I always pass on the messages to the coppers I see in the area after I get such good messages. Dre Studio says, good morning. How are you today? I am doing well. I can't complain. It is Friday, and that means that I'm not here tomorrow or Sunday, but back on Monday. And I do like Fridays. Oh, and the fact that I get to have time off with family is the reason I think I like Fridays so much. I look forward to them, and of course, we try and make it a little more cheery. Well, who are we kidding? We're cheery every time we do this. All right, we are talking about here, what happens if you have more than one passenger after 12? Well, it really depends on who you are and what you have in your wallet. See, if you're a G2, midnight to 5 a.m. in the first 6 months only allows you to have one person under the age of 20 in your vehicle between those hours. But you can have as many people as you have seatbelts if they're immediate family. So you can have your brother, sister, mother, that sort of thing. But you can't have other persons under the age of 20 who are not family. Now, in the second 6 months, if you're a G2 driver, you can have up to 3 people that qualify under A19. But if they're over 19, you can have as many people as you have seatbelts for. That is the story. All right. Okay. Hopefully, so I don't know. It was clarifying about what we talked about, but we talked about it now. So thank you very much for clarifying and clarifying again. What is this? How accurate are speeding tickets if the cop car was in front of driving car? Well, if you were driving and the vehicle that was in front of you was a police car and they were driving too, well, they are generally, and if it's a traffic car, equipped with moving radar, which means there's an antenna in the front of the vehicle and an antenna in the back of the vehicle capable of measuring the speed of vehicles either approaching or moving the opposite direction in either front or back, depending on what they set up. So they don't set. I can't see front and back simultaneously, but I can switch the antenna activation from the remote control in my hand. So that is something that, if radar was used to determine your speed, would absolutely be accurate. Although I can't testify on behalf of the officer as to what they saw and did, there is a way to measure it. It's called moving radar, and that's what I've described. Dre Studio says, are you a Jays fan? I'm going to the game today. So excited. I am. I like going. I took one of my kids to their first Blue Jays game. That was a really good experience. By the way, for any parent, any person who's never gone, there's an office at the stadium that you can go to and get your certificate that commemorates your first visit. Maybe you go to your second visit and still ask for your first visit certificates. It's kind of cool for kids, especially. I love going on the Jays days when they do all the special stuff for the kids. But am I a diehard fan? I support the team because I'm a Torontonian, and I love getting into the cheer and supporting. But I don't actually watch sports ever on purpose. And one of my kids is now a major fan of hockey, which I have no understanding of. I think it's because my wife's a hockey fan, and she's a supporter of the Detroit Red Wings. And because they're out of the playoffs, she is no longer watching. So there you go. Let's see here. What is your criteria when trying to decide to pull someone over on the highway? If they're breaking the law or doing something that looks suspicious, that's the criteria. Like, it's simple as that. If I see you doing something you're not supposed to be doing, you have drawn my attention, you have piqued my interest, and I am now going to investigate. Now, I also would just check license plates for every vehicle I see. If I'm looking in your direction, I'm going to check your plate, and if it comes back as something that is not what it's supposed to be, I'd be pulling you over and investigating you. 84 says, thank you for your service. You're very welcome, and my pleasure, and it's what I love to do. So what is it they say? If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. Yeah, I love what I do. So thank you, and thank you. M. Carroll says, happy FriYAY, and happy FriYAY to you too. Let's see here. What is this? All good. What is this? All good. Up to 3.0. I'm not. Oh, is it 3,000 likes? Is that what we're talking about? Or just 30? Let's hang on a second. Let's see what we're talking about. Now I'm intrigued. I'll enter the live. That's why I was fidgeting with my phone earlier. I was trying to pull it up so I can see. 70 people in the room. How you doing? Okay. And 1,000 likes. Hey, if you're watching on TikTok, please smash that screen and throw some likes our way. It helps the algorithm determine that we're worthy of sharing on the the For You page. Not that it's required, but if you're willing to do it, great. And if you're watching on any other platform, please like, follow, subscribe, share, all that stuff. It's good endorsements. How much alcohol is 0.05? Well, that's the blood alcohol content in your blood alcohol level. How many alcoholic beverage it takes to get there is going to depend on you and like the time. There's no specific measure. You are constantly absorbing and expelling and processing and so on. So it depends on where you're at that moment. You might be on your way up. There are people who are pulled over and they blow over the legal limit just marginally. And they get to or they warn by the time they would get to a station for a second test, they could possibly be higher. So just because you're one level now, before you get in the car, you might be really impaired by the time you get to the station, or when you get pulled over. What is this? Is it your opinion, or in your opinion, how common is it for drivers to operate a car without insurance? It's very common. We charge a lot of people with it, and that's the people we catch. So there's a lot of people who determine that they can get away with it, right up until the point when they don't. So some people will, get a quote and show you the quote and say, "See, I got insurance." That's not insurance. It's a quote for insurance. We investigate. We have 3 years to lay the charge. It has a $5,000 to $25,000 fine range on the first conviction and up to 6 months in jail. It's a serious offense. And again, it is a lot of people. Like, depending on the neighborhood you go into, you'll find more in some and less in others. But they're everywhere because people drive throughout, cities and countries and Some of them just don't care about insurance. They think it's a scam. And again, you can think that right up until the point where you need that, and then you're going to wish you had it. Let's see here. Matt wants to know, right lane is an HOV lane. You have to make a right turn from a parking lot. Turn what? Right lane is an HOV. Oh, okay. You have to make a right turn from a parking lot, turn into left lane or HOV. So that's not an HOV lane. HOV lanes are on 400 series highways. What you're describing is a multi-use diamond lane. The multi-use diamond lane is an actual lane. To be safe, you should turn into that lane and then exit that lane, making a subsequent lane change into a proper driving lane. They're usually conditional, usually only restrictions during certain times. You can enter them to make turns. Obviously, you would not turn across that lane to get into a parking lot. You would change lanes and then make a proper safe turn. So no, you don't skip the lane. You use the lane, but then you get out of the lane as quickly as possible. Let's see here. Is 0.05 to 0.079 a DUI ticket? First of all, DUI is an arrest, not a ticket. But no, that is going to be a roadside suspension. You're going to lose your license. You're not getting a ticket for it, though. If you're impaired and you have a warrant, chances are you wouldn't have had the warrant because we would have just arrested you for impaired. But, I like to try and walk myself through these different things. Are Uber, Lyft drivers allowed to give rides to kids without car seats in their cars? Absolutely not. Taxis are. You are not a taxi as an Uber or Lyft driver. Those drivers are required by law to ensure that the passengers are properly protected, and they are eligible for the ticket. Now, I was under the impression, correct me if I'm wrong, that there was a policy from Uber and Lyft to not take those passengers. But unfortunately, people who want to get rides call Uber and then try and pressure the driver, who is then legally responsible for what happens. They get the ticket. Now, we can't fix what some parents are and trying to take their kids without car seats, but you are certainly not permitted. So if you are an Uber or Lyft driver, say no. You shall not go. Okay. M says, what is this? I don't know what you're talking about. Please use the letter Q so I know that it's a message for me as opposed to comments, because that's probably not for me. Okay. Brandon says, good morning from Isla Morada. Oh, I don't know if I pronounced that right, but good morning. Let's all have a good, safe, positive day from your question mark yesterday. I live in Ontario, but have a place in Florida as well, as it's hard to leave. Yes, I look forward to being back in Florida one day. As I mentioned yesterday, I lived there for 5 years. I really do love Florida. Okay. Andy wants me to elaborate on perjury. Would you like to know how perjury works? People do it all the time. What are you alleging? I know what you're alleging, but you're wrong. Okay. Josh, our unofficial producer, is reminding everyone to put a Q in front of the question, help separate banter from questions. Thank you, and thank you for the reminder. I often forget to remind people. Okay. Good morning. Can you drive a minivan with the side cargo door open? John Kearns, our friend, who is sometimes on Instagram, which reminds me, you made me think about the fact that I have not looked at Instagram, and I must quickly look. Quickly. Oh, Lovebug9441 says Canada's Wonderland will be open next weekend. As an aside, just mentioning it because I read it. I don't think that there is a specific law prohibiting it. However, if it doesn't have the latch system that secures it in the open position, that could be very dangerous. It could slam. It could damage your vehicle. But I don't believe that there is a law against it, as long as all items inside the vehicle are secured. Drive with door slid. There's no charge that I'm aware. I'm sure a charge could be made to fit, because the HTA. The charges, if they put it under a category of unsafe something. I don't know if you got a conviction, but there's a potential that a charge could be laid. I just don't know what charge they would lay. Let's see here. Josh says, and good morning, Sean. It's a nice Friday. It was a little bit chilly this morning here, but it is a nice Friday because every Friday is nice. We've got, Marco. Why aren't you out doing police work? Well, guess what, Buttercup? This is police work. Yeah, I am doing police work. I'm a police officer getting paid to be here and educate the public, talk about traffic safety, traffic laws, and police stuff in general. But yeah, this is called media relations, and in my case, social media as well. So I speak to everyone here who's watching, but I also speak to major media, radio, television, journalists for print media. I do it all. We also do internal stuff, but this is what I do for at least an hour of my day, is be here for, the bright and shiny people who are here watching and engaging like yourself. But I don't go out on the road anymore because I was injured in an on-duty motorcycle collision, and I actually don't have the option of going out and doing police work in the fashion that you are, alleging or requesting. So that's my story, and then we're moving on. Now, I don't know if Cute Stitch is applauding Marco's question or just has a fascination with yellow hands. I don't know. Let's see here. Hello, how are you? Wondering. We talked about that. It was Heath77. And Jacked Up to the Magnificent, thank you for responding to Marco. And so is Josh responding to Marco. There we go. Fish Creek Man, why are you not cracking down on tires sticking out past the fender walls? I got a rock in my windshield. Sorry to hear that. I would love to write tickets for all of those offenses. I would love to pull over every single person for every single violation, because I'm that traffic cop who knows what those rules are and wants to ensure the safety of all and protect your windshield. There's no reason that you should be responsible for a rock chip caused by somebody who made their car look cool but didn't take into consideration the safety of others when doing it. So I'm with you. Now, there is a problem. We have a limited amount of persons out there on the road, and the vast majority of them are tied up morning till night. From the time they get there, there's pending calls waiting for them, and when they leave, there's pending calls waiting for the next cop to get on duty. So there's not a lot of time for proactive policing. We have the Division Zero enforcement team, and they are out there doing the best that they can, and they're trying to make it safer for people as well. Now, if they find someone who is violating one of these particular focus points, the big four, they're looking for speeders, aggressive drivers, distracted drivers, and impaired drivers, that's their mandate. If they find people who are, have tires sticking out and they happen to be doing one of those things, they're absolutely getting a ticket for the fender, the tire size issue. However, the focus is on the stuff that keeps people safe. So while the rock in your windshield is annoying, we can't deploy people for the specific purpose of doing that. I'd love to, but we can't. We need to keep people safe. We need to look at the greater good, keeping pedestrians alive, cyclists alive, other motorists alive. The rock, yeah, could we have a rock hurt someone? Absolutely. I'm not making it less important. So I'm not suggesting it's not important. It's just less important than those things. So I understand your frustration, and we get as many as we can. Okay, Ryan, the Thin White Line Interceptor says, happy Friday, good sir. If a person from Michigan is visiting Ontario and they have super dark windshield tint, will you make them remove it? I'm generally speaking, yes, I'm going to charge them. That's not safe for the road. Could I let them go with a discretionary warning? Could. I don't think I would. And it all depends, as you said in your hashtag there. It all depends. We shouldn't be allowing cars into Canada across the border that violate traffic rules. However, I don't think CBSA is aware of all of them. They're not traffic officers. They're border officers looking for very different things. Interdiction, they're specialists in things that I am not a specialist in. So do these things slip through? Yeah, they do. And I can't say that is, again, the focus of what we deal with. It comes when we come across it, we would deal with it. You never know. All right, I'm laughing at the comment because Emma and Josh are talking about the song. She's like, what is that? All right. How and when do cops know when to pull someone over seems random? Well, it depends, because sometimes I pull people over because they did something. Sometimes I pull people over because I ran the plate and it shows up as uninsured. Sometimes I pull people over because I looked at the car and it looked not right. Why? Because it had a plate that was expired. Now we don't have stickers, but those used to be clues. Then I start digging, and the registered owner is 90, but it's a 12-year-old driving, or maybe just because the person looks really, really young, and I don't think they're licensed. It could be so many things, but it's not random. It's because we're looking and investigating and making determinations based on our observations. Why Toronto police are so cool? Because we're the best. No, I don't know. We're not everyone is cool. Sometimes I'm not cool, but at the end of the day, we're all here trying to help. But I appreciate the suggestion that we are cool. Unless it was tongue in cheek, then it was funny. Everyone seems to speed. Yes, and everyone who speeds is breaking the law and eligible for tickets. My wife is mourning the Red Wings being knocked out of the playoffs. So there you go. I didn't even know that it was still hockey season. I'm just not a sports guy. I used to like playing sports, but I've never understood watching sports. I never got into it. I have many friends who are diehard fans. I would rather do something else. But sometimes they serve chicken wings and watch the game, and I can deal with that. Okay. What is this? I have seen a peace officer speeding a lie with other traffic while I was doing the limit. Police officers are legally permitted to exceed the posted speed limit in the lawful execution of their duties. So I am not at all surprised. I have gone very, very, very fast as a police officer, doing very, very, very dangerous things in a very lawful capacity as a police officer. It's just, yes. And the average the average civilian car is speeding. And if we couldn't speed, we would be effectively moving backwards because everybody else is speeding. And we have to pull people over. We have to investigate. Let's see here. Oh, Emma's wearing the Michigan hockey merch because her hubby is from Michigan. Okay. Akela supports Toronto teams even though we have little interest in sports, and the Leafs haven't won the cup in my lifetime. I couldn't even tell you. There are people who can spout statistics about hockey. I have no interest at all. Although I would still appreciate a win just because Toronto needs some wins. And we are scrolling past. What is this? We got more hockey. I lightly watch hockey if it is on at a bar. I occasionally went to the Marlies games. I last watched Leafs last year until losing second playoff round. I like some video games. Not a major fan though. Like hockey video games? I think those may have been an emoji of hockey sticks. I've never been a sports hockey video gamer either. I like stuff like Call of Duty. And while I've never been in the military, nor would I choose to join one, just because there's too much running. Okay, let's see. What is this? In Ontario, if someone blows a warrant first and then a fail, are they dealt with as a fail or a warrant? Well, generally speaking, if we're giving you a roadside sobriety test, if it's a screening test, you're getting the screening test. If you blow a warrant first, there's no further testing. Truly, I was describing the second test earlier as an example, but if we were to have you blow a fail and then you were to get to the station and no longer fail, well, you wouldn't be charged. If you were to blow a fail and then fail again at with two subsequent tests with a breath tech, then you would be charged. So it all depends. You guys need to monitor the highways better. As always, cars, I'm assuming, being dumb and never a cop around. Amanda says that. And here's the deal. We don't actually, other than the Don Valley Parkway and the Fred Gardner Expressway, the Toronto police aren't responsible for Highway 401, although we do, on occasion, stop people there because if we're there, we're there, and if we see it, we can deal with it. But that's an Ontario Provincial Police mandate on the highways that they're responsible for. But you're absolutely right. We should be there more, but the problem with being there more is it means we need more of us, and that requires money, and we already have a huge budget doing what we can do, and the focus has always been to do everything we can do. But we still need more. Then people say we have too much money in our budget already. How can we give you more? And we say, well, because we got to keep people safe. And then people argue to the contrary. There's this defund movement. But we need more to do more because people want us to make the road safer. It's a catch-20. It's a circular conversation. Let's see here. What do we got here? Amanda, okay, other people responding. And Amanda says, well, the OPP needs to do better. It's a person power thing. You got to have more people on the road. And it's a big area. And what happens when things happen? We've had people complain to us because they waited 3 or 4 hours for us to respond to a minor collision. So we investigate. Why did it take so long? And we found out that there was like a major collision, whether it be a fatality or a serious collision, where every officer in a general area was pulled off to go deal with that collision. So the person with the minor fender bender is waiting 3 or 4 hours for a response. We only can do what we can do because we only have so many people on the road. And it is the nature of the beast. We can't be everywhere all the time. Okay. Has Canada's Wonderland gotten any new rides, or is the Leviathan still the last new one? I think they have new stuff this year. And now you've got me wondering. I think I vaguely remember reading something. Canada's Wonderland, I'm Googling. New rides. What did they say? Go on their website. Rides and experiences. Antique. Okay, they actually, really? What is this? Oh, thrill level. But I want to know what's new. Come on, don't they have a press release or something? Check out their website. Somebody, I'm going to not spend more time looking at this, but somebody somewhere, Google it and let me know. Xander Thibault? I've already answered this question, so we'll move on. What is this? Apparently, they've got a new water slide, according to M, who could probably look out their window and see. Can you see it from where you live? Yeah, I got to go to Wonderland this year. I was deliberating as to whether or not I get a season's pass for the whole family to go. And we went last year, but we didn't go enough. Maybe we went twice, like just break even. You got to go at least twice to break even for a season's pass. But based on that, I imagine I'll have to break down and spend $1,000 to get the entire family there. Do you get food? But is it worth to get the food? The inclusive food business, where you go and every 30 minutes you can have more food or drink. I don't know, not sure exactly. Is it 4 hours? Not 30 minutes. 15 or 30 minutes for drinks, I think. A reminder from Josh, our unofficial producer, that we are currently behind on questions about 15, 20 minutes. Okay, actually, we're 11 minutes behind. So very accurate, sir. We're right now, it's 10:36, and that statement, this was put at 10:25. Okay, and let's see here. TikTok comment. A TikTok comment said, highways are an OPP jurisdiction. No, Yonge Street is a highway. TPS that happen to go on controlled access 400 series highways can still make traffic stops. Yes. So truly a highway. The wording is silly, but it's called the Highway Traffic Act. And it's not just talking about 400 series highways, which are controlled access, just as Michael said. Every road in Ontario is a highway. There are roads, which are highways, and there are controlled access highways, which are actually what we normally would call a freeway or expressway. Yeah. All right. What do we got here? We need more OPP. People are driving too fast. People are driving too fast everywhere. Traffic is a huge problem. And I mean traffic being, policing of traffic is a huge problem because we just never have enough officers. There's always somebody breaking the law. And go fishing, you can only catch what you catch. You can't catch all the fish. You catch the ones you catch. So how do we fix it? I personally believe bringing in automated enforcement is the way to do it. I think that we should have speed cameras on highways just like they have in England. If you get on the highway and you get off the highway, they calculate, they do the math, because that's a thing. And by calculating the time you get on and get off, they can determine your average speed, and based on your average speed, they will charge you. And that makes sense to me. Why we have the technology. 407 could be doing speed measurement for everybody who gets on and gets off. It's built into their system. They know the times. Why not just charge them for it? They would just need a change to the HTA, I think. Maybe they could use the existing. I think the framework is only for, it's only permissible in certain areas, but I think it should be done for everything. Watan Dost, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Go to your work. This is it. I'm here already. Isn't that convenient? I don't have to waste any time from your comment all the way till I get to work, because I am at work. Let's see here. Ooh, Josh said, okay, this is getting into music stuff, but there's some cool performers coming in. I like Def Leppard. That was my time. And what is this? Scrolling through lots of dialogue because people are having conversations. Windshield lots by stock vehicles, so it's nothing to do with tires. What? Chris Guts. I don't know which one. I don't know what we were talking about specifically when you were making this comment, so I don't know what you're talking about. We were talking about tires and throwing up debris from the road causing windshields to break. That is something to do with tires not being covered. You have to cover by fender flare or mud flap and or combination thereof. Has to be covered. I see a lot of people driving with AirPods. Is that illegal, or it just bugs me when I see it? Think about if it's AirPods in particular, they have a mode for transparency, so you can actually listen to music or whatever, or telephone calls, and still hear around you. So if they're set up properly, they're actually safe, and very little difference than if you were just listening to your stereo. And that's where things really come into play. If you're listening to your stereo loudly, you hear the same or little than if you were listening with headphones. Either way, it's not illegal in Ontario. In other provinces, you may only be able to cover one ear, but it's perfectly legal here. And here's another zinger for you. You don't have to have the ability to hear in order to drive. There's no hearing test for driving, just a vision test. So it's lawful even if you plug your ears, although it's hard to plug your ears with your fingers and still drive a car. Just saying. Heath says, you're such a great guy and thanks for answering questions. Heath, that's what we're here for. Can I touch my phone in a holster? I hope so. Otherwise, how do you take it out of the holster? I mean, when you're driving, you can't. If by holster you mean mounted to your vehicle, you can touch your phone to answer by swipe or depression, pressing, but you can't manipulate the screen. You can't search your emails. You can't set your destination on GPS, but you can have the GPS visible. That app can be visible. It's the only app you can have visible, other than your phone's native lock or phone screen. Ethan Bikes. Where should I leave my keys so people can steal my vehicle? Ethan bikes, and it's obvious that he bikes because he obviously doesn't drive or understand the complexities of home invasions. I'm assuming, of course, but here's the deal. The advice is and continues to be to leave your keys at the front door. Now, at the front door does not mean outside of your front door. It does not mean with a bell and a cup of tea and some macaroons. It means that you leave it at the front door. So if how do I say this nicely? Thief, home invader, breaks into your house, they see the keys, and the reason that they're there is for that keys. They take the keys and they go away, which is the best case scenario if they've already taken the steps to break into your home. See, the problem is, if the keys aren't there and they want your car bad enough, they're going to kick in your door, they're going to enter your home, they're going to come find you in the middle of the night in bed, they're going to put a gun in your face, and then they're going to get you to give them the keys along with everything else that you own. That's what's happening in real life. So the people who are making fun of the advice don't understand the advice. And we are about harm reduction at the point where there's a home invasion. It's gone past the point of theft reduction. Theft reduction is a real thing. We want you to put a club-like device across your steering wheel to make your vehicle less attractive to thieves. We want to put a brake pedal block so that they can't get the vehicle to drive away even if they've got into it. We want you to put an alarm system and theft deterrent systems like remote kill switches or I lost the word. But I'm saying there's a lot of things you need to do to make your vehicle less attractive. Maybe get the barnacle that the NYPD is employing, where they're putting this big suction cup device on the windshield so no one, even if they took the car, couldn't drive it. These are good ideas, and they're all things you should look at and consider doing to make your vehicle less attractive to would-be thieves. Because it's not our place to stand at your front driveway there and prevent your car from being stolen. We just can't do it. We're busy doing a whole bunch of other things. So you got to make your vehicle less attractive for thieves. And if they are going to get in your house, then you have to start thinking about other things about your safety. All right. What's in the bottle? This is water. And I had Country Time. What is this? Country Time iced tea, sugar-free squirt stuff in it. So that's my thing, because I'm getting bored of plain water a little bit. But I appreciate the heads up to take a sip. With all the lights and the insulation in the studio, it can be quite hot. It depends on the day. Today is nice. I have a fan running to keep circulation because this has no major overhead fans, and I'm worried. I'm going to be melting in the summer. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. I'm going to be melting. Air conditioning is good. I would love to be like refrigerator temperature in here. It would be great. But yeah, it can be quite warm. What do we got here? What are the charges for overloaded light-duty tow truck? Tow truck has a whole bunch of things that they're eligible for, and I couldn't tell you because I've not seen the changes, or I've not deep dove. I have not taken a deep dive into the new regs. But there are people in our unit who are very well versed in that whole tow truck enforcement side of things. But any vehicle that's overweight is going to be charged for that. And if you're towing too much weight, you're overweight. If your axles, there's a whole bunch of things, and I'm not the right guy to ask about this. I keep thinking about taking a course on it to be able to answer the odd question on it. I haven't done that yet. It's time. It's all about time. Yeah, I don't have a good answer for you. But you know what? Send me a message, and I can get the answer from those guys, the commercial vehicle inspection folks, and they can give me the details. What do we got here? Police are above the law. No, user lots of numbers. We are people who actually know the law and work within the law to do what we have to do. And frankly, that is very frustrating because when we are chasing said bad person in a car, it's a pursuit, they go through the stop sign, we have to stop for the stop sign because we follow the law. We're not exempt from it, and we're going to be held accountable for anything we do that's outside of the law. We're allowed to speed, we're allowed to use our cell phone, we're allowed to use our police radio because the law says we are, thus we're not above the law. We have specific provisions in the law that allow us to do our job. But, you know, people who say that police are above the law don't understand the law. Okay. Police officers saw others speeding and didn't pull over, curious. So if this is a situation where the average flow of traffic is 120 and the officer was doing 120 with them and didn't enforce the speed limit laws, that's their prerogative. Or they had somewhere to go. So if they were there for the purposes of speed enforcement and would have normally given them a ticket, but were assigned to something that was more pressing, maybe they're on their way to a collision investigation. Doesn't necessarily require them to go lights and sirens, but there are times we go places and we don't enforce things along the way because those things would take us away from getting to the assigned task. Okay. Benjamin Allen wants to know the difference between touching my phone and touching my car screen. Touching your phone is illegal. Touching your car screen is not. But here's the zinger for you. You can get charged for touching your phone, touching your car screen. You can be so engrossed in your car's infotainment system that you're weaving around the road. You see, you're still responsible for your driving. If you're weaving on the road, careless driving is what you're going to get. And here's another one that is very interesting. Prior to cell phone charges being developed, careless driving is exactly the charge that you would have gotten. And fun fact is that cell phone charges were developed to be a lesser offense than careless driving. It's only through the development and expansion of the abuse of that, the development and expansion of the technology and the rampant abuse of that technology, being that people can't put them down, they're absolutely addicted to them. Well, the $125 no points ticket, which is what distracted driving used to be, has grown into a $615 ticket with 3 demerit points and a suspension. But that was supposed to be less than careless. Now it's so bad that distracted driving and specifically cell phone use is causing more collisions, more harm than impaired driving. Let that sink in. So when it's as prevalent, we'll call it equivalent, maybe we should be raising it again. Maybe it should have the same consequences as impaired driving. Wouldn't that be interesting? In any case, I love these conversations. 1048. Okay. Brendan Garrett. Brendan Garrett. Are fitness tests done at the beginning of the recruitment process now? I don't know what they are now. You know, I mean, obviously you have to be able to pass to graduate, but I believe in order to apply, you have to do it. Heath says, you have a great radio voice, very calming. Thank you very much. My wife is reminding everyone to add a cue before your question. That allows me to identify it as a question as opposed to banter, which sometimes I get involved with anyway. Why are officers paid while on suspension? Because the Police Services Act of yesterday, because it started April 1st? We got a new one. There are certain offenses in which, until it's cleared in the courts, we are on suspension with pay. So let's say we do everything right, but someone puts an allegation in and they have to suspend you based on certain criteria. I don't know what that criteria is per se, but there are times when they have to suspend someone for conduct. But it's an allegation. They've not been found guilty. It's simply an allegation. Should they lose their jobs when they were doing their job? Let's say someone says that they did something inappropriate, and during the time that they're being investigated, they're suspended, but they're innocent. So you're going to take someone who's going to lose their family, their job, their home, because of someone who made a frivolous and false claim. But if it was criminality, if they know, then it's frustrating. So when coppers do the wrong thing and they're absolutely criminal in their intent and all that jazz, they shouldn't be protected. And that's why this new act has come in to replace the old. And the new one allows for, in certain situations, the suspension without pay. Brand new. I'm not a scholar on that, so I don't want to give you more than that. But there are things that have happened to change that. But the people who are currently off are based on the original. I wonder if it'll change. I wonder if people can be reviewed under the new law or new act. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, Xander says in Alberta you have to take a second test. I think there is yeah, I'm not clear on that. You just reminded me of something that rings. They might be able to request one, but I don't think we have to ask one. So that's interesting. But cool. I love it when we talk about stuff I haven't talked about in a long time that make me think about things that I may have heard of once upon a time. All right. And if they blow a different reading, must go with the lower. That sounds really familiar. You know what I really need to do? I need to get my buddy to come in who's camera shy, but I want to get him in here because he's like the guru about all things impaired because he's like the guy who does all the training. Okay. What do we got here? They're giving licenses to people who can't drive. There is a situation that I've been seeing where people are buying licenses. That's pretty gross. And is it a big issue? It's a big issue. What is this? Sam column 3 says, I can hear the cicadas, Wonderland. I can hear C, Canada's Wonderland. Sorry, I'm hearing, I just assumed it was cicadas, which is, by the way, something happening this year. We're supposed to be getting two hatching, crawling out of the ground, two different groups or that are going to align with cicadas, like these enormous insects. Google it if you don't know what a cicada is. But anyway, yes, they can see it from their washroom. Food there is crazy expensive. Go to the nearby restaurants. Food is much cheaper. You got to. I think you have to have a pass to get in and out, don't you? I don't know. Emma's brother swears by the food package. Good information. I'm never there long enough. I'm like take the kids for 2 hours and then get out of there. Okay. Can you fight a camera speed ticket? You can fight anything if you want to. Doesn't mean you're going to win. You have photographic evidence. What is the testimony that you're going to provide? Now, camera speed ticket, if we're talking about the ones related that are currently being issued, red light and speed. Generally speaking, well, first of all, it doesn't affect your license. It affects your license plate. So it doesn't impact your insurance. It's monetary impact only. That's not to say you should just pay it if you're innocent, but what are you going to, how, pray tell, will you prove that you were innocent? They have photographic evidence. You're going to have to disqualify the measurement system, and I'm pretty sure they've gone through that before. So you can challenge it, but you may not be successful. In 110 posted at what speed do you receive stunt in car? 150. So this is the question is, if you're on the new speed limit zone, which is 110, and you do 150, is that stunt driving, or do you have to do 160? Well, anywhere, regardless of speed limit, if you're doing 150, it's stunt driving. Regardless, if the speed limit was 140 and you went 150, it would be stunt driving, which I think is cool. But I think stunt driving should be much lower. I think 130 should be stunt driving. Why on earth why does anyone need to go that fast? There's no reason for it. It's just to be abusive, to abuse the speed limit or ignore it. According to CTV, summer of 2024, 2 new rides, Snoopy's Racing Railway, RW Kong Railway. I'm assuming that was and the Tundra Twister. Well, my kids are going to be excited. And my wife says, I love Snoopy. Now I want to go, okay, thanks. Thanks, Josh. You just made me spend money. My wife has endorsed it already. All right. What's this? Good point. We were discussing earlier about the fact that Avery Road is a highway, and Michael points out that it must be cheaper to call everything a highway but they're still calling it all those other things, but certainly it's easier it's less print. Let's see here. You guys are so quick to ticket people for driving fast when thugs kill and break into homes with gun. Well, yes, we are interested in taking care of everybody. You know how many guns, by the way, we get by ticketing people? We pull people over and, hey, look at that, it's a gun. We get a lot of guns off the road, a lot of guns, because we're pulling people over who was speaking. Oh, I was given, here's one. Where is this? Got to know which phone to look at. I said I was going to talk about this when I got notified about it, but this is right on topic, I think. Where? Here we go. So this was, I think, yesterday. Driver was traveling on the Gardner Expressway at Lakeshore, 212 kilometers an hour in a 100 zone. So 212. They were obviously, making bad decisions. I would have charged them for criminal dangerous driving at that point, just personally. But they did do an MAS. MAS is mandatory alcohol screening, and they failed. Subsequent tests were twice the legal limit. So there's an impaired driver who's speeding, but sometimes it's an impaired driver who is speeding, and then when we search the vehicle because it's being impounded, we find guns and drugs. It happens a lot. So we're quick to ticket, we're quick to enforce, because those offenses, like speeding, well, they kill people. It's true. What else? Have you ever stopped a fellow coworker? How did it go if you did? I pulled someone over who was under, like they were plainclothes, they were in a surveillance unit, so they were doing what they needed to do, and they didn't get a ticket because they were working in a police car. I just didn't know it at the time. But it's only happened a few times. I've not pulled over anybody. Well, I haven't pulled anybody over in 5 years because I've been off the road. But it's not been a common thing. Yeah. I can't think of, other than those times that was on-duty undercover surveillance vehicles, I don't think I've ever pulled anybody over. Let's see here. Why not stop the thugs with guns by sending them away? Instead, you let them out 1,000 times. Let's be clear. I don't let anybody out. When I arrest someone, I take them and I process a court docket or a file that goes to court, the case, with the intention and hope that they go away for a long, long time. What happens after I present that to court is up to the court. So if anyone's letting them out, it's not me. And it's not anybody who arrests anybody. It's the court system that's letting them out. So let's please be clear. Let's be clear and point the finger at the justice system, not the officers trying to make it work. Okay. Stray Kids Group says, keep up the good work and explanations you provide. Thank you. It's my goal to do it forever and ever, ever and ever. I think I'll do it in retirement. What else am I going to do? I like this. All right. Josh jumps in and says, that's a judicial government thing, not a police thing. They do the arrest and transfer. Josh, the unofficial producer, thank you. That's exactly what I said, pretty much. We're at 11 o'clock, and we're going to go overtime because that's generally how I roll. But I want to talk to you about careers because I'm curious if they posted any new ones. Let's see what comes up when we go on the site. If you've ever thought about becoming a member of the Toronto Police Service or a police officer in general, this is great information. Check it out here by going to www.tps.ca/careers. Could you tell I was looking for the right button? Anyway, when you go to that website, you will get here, and here is where you get all the information that you're ever going to need about becoming a police constable, special constable, parking enforcement officer, comms operator, transferring from another police service, volunteering as an auxiliary officer. By the way, greatest auxiliary program in the world. That's how I started. And then I became a special constable, but that's another story. And then civilian roles. Maybe you don't want to wear a uniform. Maybe you don't want to serve the public that way, but you still want to help your community. This is a great way to do it. There's 9 positions currently available, including general counsel, legal services, equity, inclusion, and human rights, and a curriculum specialist. There you go. Benefits coordinator, senior writer in corporate communications, special constable, Yippee, right? That's the Youth in Policing Initiative after-school program. You get paid to do that. Communications operator, intermediate technical analyst, and developer at the digital team. I see that the help desk analyst job has been taken down, so it must have expired. These do expire. If you have any interest in becoming a member of the service, don't wait. Like, go and apply, because they're only open for a short window, and when they're gone until they're back. Noor says bad cops equals bad advice. Bad cops might give bad advice. I don't know many bad cops. In fact, I don't know any bad cops. Nobody likes a bad cop more than a good cop. And if you think that all cops are bad, sadly, you are a bad person or you have bad experiences. And, I can't help that. But obviously you're dealing with, there's a potential. Many people say cops are bad. These generalities are silly. There are bad cops. No question. I'm not saying that everyone's perfect. There's also bad doctors, bad lawyers, bad clergymen, bad people. But that's people, because we hire people, and they're imperfect. The vast majority, like the 99.9999%, are awesome, who signed up and put their lives on the line every day to help people, to protect people, to make life on this planet better. There's always going to be bad. We try and find them, hold them accountable, just like we try and hold everyone accountable for doing bad things. Cops don't get a free pass. In fact, they're held to a higher standard. Let's see here. Shouldn't more officers be patrolling in high robbery areas so thieves don't do it? I assume they already are patrolling in high-risk areas. But that doesn't mean that we can see everything all the time. And then if we were to put cameras everywhere or have helicopters flying, the public says, hey, we don't like cameras and helicopters flying. So we're always fighting with the needs and wants of the community. Some of the community want more protection. Some of the community want to see less of us. Some of the community like us. Some of the community don't like us. We can't make everybody happy, unfortunately. Tanner John Murner, your advice is a joke. Don't listen to it then. For those who listen to what I have to say and appreciate what I have to say, that's why I'm here. And for people who don't want to hear it because they don't believe in it, well, that's up to you. I give the information. What you do with it is up to you. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, Sam Call M3 says they're tax agents and want to catch you speeding. I read of the killers running around. Okay. No, we're trying to protect people based on controlling or at least trying to motivate. Controlling doesn't work. We can't control people. We try and motivate them to do the right thing. Hey, listen, the suggestion or allegation that we are tax agents is, well, silly and incorrect. First of all, if you don't break the law, you don't get a ticket. If you're trying to defend speeding, well, then you're one of the thugs who are making the roads unsafe. You may not be carrying a gun while you do it, but you're still putting people's lives at risk. And if you don't like that, well, it's too bad. You're part of the problem. Charles wants me to remind people that the passing lane is applicable in the city, not only the highway. There's a lot of confusion about the passing lane. People don't understand anything to do with the passing lane. Here's the deal. You're not allowed to go over the speed limit in any lane. There's no high-speed lane. There's no go faster than the person who's doing the speed limit, because everyone is limited to the speed limit. And then people get upset that people are in their way and they want to speed. Well, tough noogies. You're not supposed to speed. Now, we do say stay to the right unless you're passing, because there's always going to be a moron who wants to speed, and we shouldn't make them do unsafe things to get past cars. They're going to be even more unsafe than what they already are when they're speeding. So we need to mitigate. We need to make it so that people who are going below the speed limit stay to the right. Even if they're going the speed limit, stay to the right. And then give room for those folks that shouldn't be even driving. Let's see here. Good morning, Sean. New Subarus can turn off key fobs. Great safety feature from theft. Absolutely, I saw that. I was shocked. I use a Faraday pouch. One of the things I forgot to mention earlier, but I use a Faraday pouch. Some people get Faraday cages that they put small boxes on their desk. Still great things. And the off switch, amazing. I love it. Even if a would-be thief had the keys, they probably wouldn't know how to start the car. Yes. We all pay for car theft is an absolute true statement. Everyone's insurance renewal is going up. Some are 18%. It's gross. I just canceled the insurance on my motorcycle. I paid for it for 5 years, even though it never moved an inch. And because I thought I'd be getting back on my bike. And I finally came to grips with the fact that my injuries are permanent and I'm not going to be where I was. It's just not happening. But anyway, I took the insurance off and my insurance rates went up because they reviewed it. They said, oh, let's get this. Anyway, I'm not impressed. But yeah, these offenses impact everyone. Sam says, God bless whomever breaks into my house because I will not let them see the light of day. Sam, you must be a ninja while you're sleeping, capable of protecting yourself and your family whilst not awake. These break-ins don't always happen with an announcement or a doorbell ring. I appreciate that you don't think that you'd let them leave. And for your sake, I hope that's accurate, that you would have that encounter. But why would you want to put yourself at risk? That's the real question. We're all tough guys online. I get it. You don't want to say that you could be a victim like everybody else. But the truth is, I recognize that I could be a victim. And I'm a 300-pound, 6'5" guy who knows how to handle himself, albeit I'm injured. And I still acknowledge that I don't want someone coming into my house and putting a gun to my head to take my keys. I'll let them have the keys. My car is replaceable. I am not, nor is my family. But everyone's a ninja when they're sleeping. I hear you. I get it. Nobody wants to admit vulnerability, and that's what this is. Okay. Let's see here. Police officers. Sohal says, police officers do act above the law. I've seen many officers turn on lights just to pass traffic. How do you know they were just passing traffic? Did you follow them to what they did next? Did you ask them why they did what they did? I bet you that you didn't. You made an assumption, and that's okay. That's what we do. We look at what we look at. We believe what we believe, but it doesn't make it true. And here's the deal. We use lights and sirens to get where we're going. Very often, whilst we are getting where we're going, things change. We get calls for something called a citywide. We're all going to one place because there's a gun, there's a shooting. We don't know what's going on. We just have an officer who's calling for assistance. So everyone goes. And then people start arriving on scene and they say, you know what? It's under control. We got it. Everyone slow down. Be safe. Maybe you saw that. Maybe you didn't. I don't know. Noor says, who sets priorities? Why is the speed traps more important than busting that car theft gang? Again, your lack of understanding of how police works is simply that. I get it, and not everyone understands how this works. Traffic services handles traffic. It's not more or less important. It's just a different crime. We are specialists in this area. Other people are specialists in other areas. By no means is stopping violent crime less important or more important than traffic. I will say this. On average, more people die as a result of traffic collisions than they do to violent crime. And it's a general statement. Things have changed recently in the last few years where they're either neck and neck or one is slightly ahead of them, the other. But it's usually very, very close. So traffic's still important. Drivers are choosing to engage in traffic issues, and they're doing it every single day, not just once in a while. And I mean that because you get one violent pop-up versus an everyday current that sometimes causes a collision and sometimes you get away with it, but you're still violating the law. So traffic enforcement is important. Oh, really important. We had, if you read the news today, we've had people in serious life-altering or death situations on the road today. Those are worthy of attention, aren't they? Maybe a speed trap prevents that. Maybe if we didn't have speed traps, there'd be more people getting hurt on the road. I get it. We want to focus on things and point at why people are getting tickets because that's an annoyance. But you don't look at the fact that those tickets might be saving lives by changing driver behavior. I might not be able to convince you of that, but it doesn't matter. Truth is truth. Let's see here. Ogie says, why don't police use their turn signals they're supposed to? What is this? What about if your car in cruise and using lane keep assist, another car auto is moving back and forth? What if? I don't understand what are you asking? Okay. Can someone who's a felon become a cop? If you are convicted of a criminal offense, you cannot apply to be a police officer. You need to have a pardon issued. And even then, your offense may be something that prevents you from ever becoming a police officer. Boy Mom is joining late. Good morning. Happy Friday to you too. Let's see here. Moving along. Boy, we got some active chat here. That's what we're talking about. Kayla, thank you for that. 2 cicada broods are emerging this year, but for the most part, Ontario is only going to see the annual cicadas we get every. I didn't realize it was. I thought it was like a 14-year thing. I mean, the last cicada I saw was a while ago. Like it was probably 5 years ago since I've seen a cicada. Giant thing. At least it looked giant when it surprised the heck out of me. Okay. Emma wants to know how many kilometers you can go over the speed limit on the 407 before demerit points are given. It's a provincial law. It's 16 kilometers over the posted speed limit. Demerit points are issued. 15 kilometers and below are not. But the insurance company could care less because any speeding ticket is a speeding ticket. They're all the same. 1 kilometer, 99 kilometers. Well, 90. Okay, stunt driving is stunt driving, but the speeding ticket is simply a speeding ticket. Stunt driving is an additional charge, and they care about that too. But people think that, if they get a ticket for 5, 10, 15, 20 over, it's no big deal. The insurance company thinks so. And why do some cops lower the speed limit when they pull someone over for 40 plus, but some cops will give a stunt? You have to ask the cop who lowers it. I lowered it once. I lowered it by like 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers to prevent someone from losing their car and paying all the money because I bought into their sob story. And then they showed up for court for the reduced one. They still fought it, even though I saved them all of that time and money. And that was the last time I ever reduced a stunt charge. I also found out later that we really shouldn't. But the truth is, I don't believe that reducing roadside is a good idea. I think that if you want to go have a court date and talk about the evidence and you want to win, go win. Go win because you actually have a defense. But don't go to the court and just play games. I would much rather hold people accountable at the side of the road for the full ticket. So never again will I reduce. Well, I'm probably not going to write another ticket. But if I was, it would be for the full pop. But every officer has their own prerogative, discretion. Let's see here. Lots of dialogue about speeding, trying to justify it. My stretch of 401 Belleville to Kingston is being increased to 110 speed limit. Thoughts? I talked about this on the Jerry Agar show on Wednesday. I don't think it'll make a difference at all because everyone on that stretch of road is probably doing 140 or 130. So it will either keep them the same speed limit or the same actual speed, or they'll just speed 10 kilometers faster than they used to, thinking they're only going that much over the speed limit. And figuring that that's what's safe for them. So someone who used to do 120 might do 130 now because of the 10-kilometer bonus. I don't see it as a positive. Listen, if we raised all the speed limits to 110 and nobody went 111, I'd be all for changing all the speed limits. But the truth is people are doing 120 everywhere. So what's the 10-kilometer change? Means their ticket is 10 kilometers less? Ogie says 150 miles an hour ain't even fast. Ogie, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay. If cars should not go 150, they should not come with speedometers up to 260. I think that we should have the ability to shut down vehicles and limit their speed based on the geofenced areas. Like if you're on the highway, you can go 110 because that's the speed limit. I don't think your gas pedal should work past that. Wouldn't that make life easy and boring? Take away your control, your ability to make choices. You know why your cars go to 260? Because marketing. And because there are places in the world where you can go faster. And they're sold in those areas too. But I think we should take away choices. I know, it's not a popular thing. All the people with lots of testosterone are angry with that statement. But why do you need to go faster? You don't get anywhere any faster, and you put lives at risk. It's just all about ego. Okay, good morning, beautiful world. Northern Pike is a little bit late to the party, but hey, it's good to see you. Let's see here. Hey, Evandro, our Brazilian fan is watching. What's going on? Evandro, I don't know if you can still, I think you need to, probably as an auxiliary, you shouldn't be changing your name online, but now you're PC, auxiliary PC, Evandro. You're forever changed. You're part of the fam now. All right. Let's see here. And Ogie with more genius statements. The speed doesn't kill. It's the abrupt stop that does. It's speed differential. It's the abrupt stop. But guess what? It's speed that gives you that extra energy that has to be dealt with when you try and stop, which is why it takes so much longer to respond and why people who don't know how to drive, which is most people, end up getting killed or killing others. All right. As Akela mentioned at 10:57, reminds that at 10:57, we were only a few minutes away to the last question because new questions coming in after 11 won't be addressed. I wish I could, but I got stuff to do. All right. Stop here on red signal. I stopped and pass after, or I stopped and I cannot turn right on the red light. I'm not following. So if it says stop here, okay, yes, I am. So those are for oddly designed intersections where it's unclear. So it's just instructions of where to stop, but it does not mean you cannot make a right turn on red. So if you stop there, and once you have come to a complete stop, you can proceed to make a right turn if it's safe to do so, if it's not signed otherwise, and so on. Okay. Moving around. Just so much to read. What if someone was going 120 in a 100 zone and it was late at night on an empty highway with barely cars? Would you give them a ticket or would you give them a warning saying slow down because they wouldn't be as dangerous if there's barely anyone on the highway? Well, I truth be told, I wouldn't be on the highway because I don't patrol the highways. Granted, I used to patrol Don Valley Parkway and the Gardner Expressway, which are 90s, not 100s. So if someone was doing 20 over late at night, in the middle of the night, I'd be pulling them over to investigate them for impaired operation anyway. You're speeding, alone or not, there's no safe time to speed. So I'd pull them over and investigate them there. And if they were impaired, I'd arrest them. And if they were not, I'd probably just ticket them for the speed they were doing. I'm not a big warnings guy. I think you should learn how to follow the law. Not you in particular, but anyone, frankly. See how I did that? Okay. Okay. I have a question. Can a cop give you a ticket if he pulls you off, I guess over, and has no overhead light on? What do you mean? If I pull you over without turning my flashies on? Do you mean because I have dash lights instead of? Yeah, I can pull you over I can pull you over on foot. I say, hey, you pull over. I can give you a ticket like that. I don't need lights flashing to issue tickets. Who has the priority if I'm taking left turn and someone is opposite me is making a right turn? The right turn has priority. You're crossing an active lane of traffic to make your left turn, so they have priority. We're at 11:01. Let's see here. Heath says, hello from a friendly Canadian airline employee. That sounds like a fun job. Do you get to go fly places cheap? That sounds awesome. Let's see here. Can police give you a demerit points for running a stop sign? Well, we don't give you points. That's from the Ministry of Transportation. And yes, there are demerit points for running a stop sign. On a conviction, the points would be added. I love these questions. How about that sergeant making more than the police chief? Please explain. It's called paid duty and overtime. I may have mentioned more than a few times over this show that we are short-staffed, which means there is work to be done and not enough people to do it. So when people are on, let's say we work 7 days on and have 7 days off, if you want to work on your 7 days off, you can, and you get paid more for it. It's overtime. You also have opportunities to do stuff like at the Sky Dome. The Toronto Police does not pay the bill for police officers working at the Sky Dome doing security details. That is paid for by Sky Dome. Oddly enough, it's not called Sky Dome anymore, but the point remains. We're being paid by a third party to do the work. It's overtime. The officer in question works like an animal. Not only is he a wonderful person, he's a really nice guy, but he takes time away from his family to work more, obviously to provide for his family, and he does that well by giving up all of his time. You have that opportunity if you want to work multiple jobs. This is effectively working multiple jobs. Just happens to be wearing a uniform. Now, maybe he works more than the chief. I don't know. What does the word quota mean to you? Nothing, because we don't have one. A quota would suggest that we have a certain number of tickets that we need to write. That's what the allegation is when people say, what's your quota? We have no quota. We have to do our job, but our job doesn't include a requisition or a requirement number of tickets to issue to people. I can write as many as I want, and I did when I was on the road doing them. Let's see here. Northern Pike says, Sean, most of us appreciate you doing this, and I look forward to it every day. Thank you very much. And I know that, but I like having fun with the people who don't like it, but are somehow spending time trying to agitate me, but not doing well because I cannot be agitated. I mean, I can be grisly sometimes or prickly sometimes, but I don't actually have a problem with talking to people who don't like me. I'm pretty used to it. When cops see cops on ways, they click not there. Depends. If they're investigating a collision, I click there. If they're doing speed enforcement, I click not there because I want you to get caught. I really do. And I don't mean that. I mean that with love and not being mean. And I'm about to go make a video. You've inspired a video. I think it's great. I'm going to do the video about what I do when I see ways. And that's because I want people to get caught. I want people to slow down. And the only way sometimes to drive that message home is to hold them accountable and give them a ticket and make them really, really angry. But maybe it saves a kid's life a block away. Maybe if we didn't pull them over, they'd kill somebody. Not intentionally necessarily, but mind you, if you're choosing to speed, you're choosing to engage in behavior that's known to be dangerous. So when you kill somebody because of your choices, is that murder? Robbie Bobby 7 says, oh wow, did some folks wake up on the wrong side of the bed? Don't break the law. All is well. Yes. But again, it's Friday and we deal with it all. It's all good. Let's see here. Why pickup trucks are allowed to have full black tint? Never saw a single truck pulled over. Listen, we are not the tint police. We are the everything police, and we have priorities of stuff that leads to serious injury and death. If we focused only on tint, we would be letting speeders go. Tint's on a lower level, lower response, lower concern, but that's no less important. You just reminded me of something. Hang on a second. I need to send a link. I wonder if the video has finished processing. It has. Fantastic. Get a shareable link. I need to send this to somebody. Priority. No, it's not there. Thank you for the inspiration to do this thing. Link. So many different computer systems, but this has got to go. Woo! See, I sent a message. All right, moving along. Yeah, so the back window can be tinted, rear windows can be tinted, but we pull people over for tint when we have time, when we can. It's important. Linus Lulu says, I have a stick shift car. Most people don't know how to drive it. Yes, I would say that's possibly one of the best ways to prevent your vehicle from being stolen is to drive stick. Fewer vehicles being made available with stick. I have a friend of mine who refuses to drive anything else, and he likes having a sedan that's stick. He went through his last Mercedes was stick, and he wouldn't buy another Mercedes because they stopped making a stick. So then he bought a Subaru in stick, and he had to go like across Canada to find one dealer that had it, and then like import the vehicle into Ontario. So it's harder and harder unless you want to drive sports cars to drive stick, and even sports cars now, Tiptronic transmissions like Porsches. I don't think they're even manual transmissions anymore, are they? Let me know. Speaking of which, I got to reach out to Porsche. They invited me to come say hello. Thank you for the reminder of creating the conversation that led me to Porsche. I'm going to make a note. Man, so much to do. Porsche. Man. Okay. I like some of these comments. Okay. I'm on the hunt for new insurance for my bike. The first company way overcharged me. You know what? You got to shop around, and if you don't check annually, they can take advantage of you. I check all the time, or at least I should check all the time. I used to check all the time, and I've after being in a collision where I really relied on insurance for a period of time, I felt like obligated to stay with them. But I think it's time to shop. Okay. Why so many donuts? Do you see donuts? What are we talking about? I don't know why donuts is a thing. I actually got to tell you that most coppers are super into health. They have their lunchbox. They go to the gym. Donuts is used to be the late night snack because, you're working night shift. It was a thing, coffee and a donut. But I prefer chicken wings. Yeah. Yeah says, you never speed? I've sped before. I got tickets when I was a kid. I stopped speeding after that. I speed legally when I'm a police officer, and I have to. I have pinned the needle on some vehicles whilst doing some things. But that doesn't mean I speed when I'm in my personal vehicle driving around for family stuff. I do not speed in my personal vehicle. Have I exceeded the speed limit by 1, 2, 3 kilometers? Sure. Have I even gone 10 over? I'm sure I have. But you know what? If I got pulled over, I'd be a big boy and I'd pay my ticket because I did what was done to create that ticket. I'm willing to take responsibility for my actions. If I chose to do something, and it is a choice, I'll wear it. I got a parking ticket recently. It cost me $50. I paid it because I did the wrong thing. And I'm not giving Erin a hard time. I did call her and make sure where I was parking was legal, and I didn't communicate truly that I was so close to an intersection. And I got a ticket for that. And I did not like it, but I paid it. Mike wants to know if you can request to have the same license plate as the previous car that was stolen. Bad idea. You'll get pulled over constantly for stolen plates because they're going to be flagged in the system, and they will always be flagged in the system. My dog is a ninja. He doesn't bark. You know he's there. Sorry, you don't know he's there until he's on your heel. I once heard a great story. I don't remember who told it to me, but they had a, what's the name of the dog, the style of the dog? It's not a Doberman. It's the big Rottweiler. So this friend of mine, I'm pretty sure it's this friend, who sadly has passed away, my buddy Rick. And he talked about a dog that was so friendly. He'd let you in. It doesn't matter. You come in the front door, knew you, didn't know you, you were there. Except when you wanted to leave, you couldn't leave. He wouldn't let you leave. He just put the bite on you and keep you there. Very interesting. Like, welcome the bad guy in the house and then just keep him there forever. Your his new dog toy. I thought that was really funny. Funnier, I'm sure, when he told me the story with far more information, but nevertheless, thanks for making me think of that. I miss my buddy Rick. All right. Okay. Lee says, I've seen police out there, lights on and in an intersection and turn it off as well. Do you mean like we turn on our lights to go through an intersection and then turn it off again, which is absolutely normal because it's the only time we're lawfully or legally required to activate our lights and sirens is to go through a signalized intersection displaying a red signal to us. Otherwise, we don't have to. Like we can respond to calls with lights off. It's actually safer. We only turn them on when we have to. Wait time for your comment is 4 hours and 17 minutes. No, I think I purposefully ignored your previous content or comment because I think it was not something I was interested in talking about. But no, right now it's 27 after, and this was 8 minutes after. So do the math. Not that far. What was this? Mr. Smeagol says, thank you for what you're doing. You are appreciated. I appreciate the appreciation. No, I am very happy to do this and make myself available to help everybody out. Why do we always see the cops speeding above the speed limit on the highway and no lights on? Because we don't have to turn the lights on, and telling people where we are and that we are there freaks them out, and then they do really silly things and put lives at risk. They hit the brakes. They pull over in front of us. They do the wrong thing. And when we're speeding to get somewhere, to help somebody, having people slow us down is the last thing we want, and being less safe is the last thing we want. So we drive the way we need to drive to get where we're going. We're lawfully doing that. And then if you're in our way and we need to get you out of our way, we'll activate our lights for that purpose. Okay. Joe Awesome. I haven't had this question in weeks. I don't think it feels like weeks. But it used to be like every 5 questions. It's that season, I think. What's the law on underglow lights in Ontario? There's no specific underglow law, although it would be nice if there was because it would be very clear-cut as to what you can and cannot do. My suggestion is only use them off the road, But that's not because they're illegal. It's because it'll prevent you from being pulled over and investigated, which is what will likely happen if your lights are visible. Now, if your lights are tucked up on the undercarriage of the car such that the light bulbs are not visible, that they're not projecting light outwards, forward, back, side to side, only that they're projecting off the ground, and if you can reduce the amount of light being cast, that it's only a faint glow, I don't think you're going to have a problem. I mean, avoid flashing lights, no red, green, or blue, but other colors are basically okay. But you could be pulled over, you could be charged, even if you're not, someone who's going to end up getting convicted, because you get charged for improper headlights if you have light other than white or yellow projecting forward. You're going to get charged if you have anything other than amber or red to the rear, because it's improper. But if you make it a faint glow, not an overpowering blast of light, and the bulbs aren't visible, I think it'll be okay. Oh, okay. So my bad. Sam says when he said, I'm not going to let them see the light of day, I misunderstood. He's saying he has dogs. And the dogs will take care of bad guys. Dogs are the best way, 100%, the best way to prevent break-ins. Bad guys don't want to deal with them. I mean, you've seen the movies where they drug the steak and then they all go to sleep and whatever. But, I mean, I don't want my dog to get hurt. But they bark and they send, even if it's a Chihuahua, they send most criminals away just by that. So I apologize. I assumed you were talking about being a ninja and being very good at defending yourself in your sleep, but you were talking about your dogs. You know what? I gotta rephrase my answer and ensure that I clarify that if you're talking about your dog, then I support that. Okay. Moving along. What was your threshold for a warning versus a speeding ticket? Anything like under 10 over on in most areas would be a warning, not a ticket. I'd have the conversation, have it educational usually. If it was a 30 zone though, mind you, I think 30 zones were created after I got off the road, but in my current situation, thinking about how I would enforce a 30 zone, if you did 10 over in a 30 zone, I'd give you a ticket. No, I wouldn't give a warning. I just don't think warnings do it. I think that if you're willing to do the crime, you should get the ticket and be responsible. What is the stunt driving change in an 80 kilometer an hour zone? Is it 40 or 50 over? 80 kilometers an hour, it's 50, 79 kilometers. Sorry. If it was 79 or lower, 40 over. So there's no 79 zone. So a 70 kilometer an hour zone would be 40 over, and an 80 kilometer an hour zone would be 50 over. That's the threshold. Interesting take, Super Dave. Because trucks are limited at 105, changing the speed now means that trucks are going to impede traffic, but they're not going to impede traffic. They're going to stay to the right. You don't have to go the speed limit. There's no law that says you have to go the speed limit. You can go below the speed limit. You can't go above the speed limit, but you can't. There's no law saying you must be at a minimum the speed limit. They're not going to impede traffic. They're just going to have to stay to the right and let people pass them by 5 kilometers, because no one's going to break the law and do 10 kilometers over or go over, right? Let's see here. Okay, Mr. Smeagol says, I just started learning to drive in Canada. I am wrapping up my G2. Any advice? Practice, follow the rules, focus on driving. Don't get distracted by anything else. Drive when you're not tired. Get appropriate sleep, eat. Don't leave yourself in situations where you're dancing for the washroom and, considering speeding for that purpose. And get in the habit of just saying what you're doing. Because when you do your G2 test, let them know what you're doing. I'm doing shoulder checks, verbalize. I'm doing shoulder checks. I'm looking to see, I'm looking far ahead. I want to make sure the coast is clear. If you're maintaining a 2-second follow distance on the highway, say I'm maintaining, just verbalize. I do it when I'm driving, or when I was on the road, I would do it for the microphone. I'd hit record and I was following somebody. I'd be verbalizing everything I'm doing. Kyle Johnson says, my car ain't faster than my ego, and that's a good thing. 100%. My dream vehicle is a Humvee. I want a Humvee. I think it does 90 miles an hour, but only if you're capable, like downhill. I don't need a car that goes faster than that. Don't need one. Mind you, that's a beast of a vehicle. Will we see the stretches of road going up on the 401 that goes to 110? I don't think so. I do not think so. Dad joke flagged. Okay. We got to call it quits, though. It's 11:30. Just checking quit. Is it okay, quickly for other stuff, is it okay to lane split with motorcycles anywhere in Canada? No, it's not legal anywhere in Canada. Nowhere in Canada legalized or allows lane splitting. You can be charged for careless driving, stunt driving, or criminal dangerous driving, depending on the observations of the officer. Will you get charged? Depends on the officer. If I see it, you're zigzagging through, stunt driving, oh yeah, I absolutely charge. And I'm a motorcycle guy. I understand why people do it. I can put myself in the mindset of understanding. I got a liquid-cooled engine. I'm not so worried, but I got an air-cooled engine. Ooh, it's getting warm. Don't drive in traffic. Like, if that's your problem, don't drive in traffic or drive, unless at busy times. But don't drive between people, putting people at risk. Have you seen how other people drive? They're on their phones. You're going to get killed. You're going to get hurt. You're going to hurt somebody else. It's not a good idea. Yeah. Oop, wrong button. Gagnon Gaming says, if cars came with an ignition interlock to combat DUI or speed limiters, people would freak out. Yes, they would. They would absolutely lose their minds because freedom. It's not about safety. They just want freedom to be naughty. I got a neighbor who says, is it okay to be naughty? He's a good kid. He's all about Santa Claus wondering if it's okay to be naughty because he likes to be naughty. Specifically telling Santa Claus that he's naughty. I don't get it. Do you guys ticket for tint often? Yeah, I think that we do. It's not an everyday occurrence. It may be for some officers, but officers that are inclined to write tint tickets write them often. It's like if you buy a Volkswagen, you start to notice all the Volkswagens. Well, if you start to get annoyed with tint, you start to see it everywhere. It's all about perspective. Windshield tint, I would absolutely charge whenever I see, if I was on the road. Dave says, just want to say I appreciate everything you do, Sean. Well, thank you, Dave. I appreciate you for the appreciation. I appreciate you for being here and participating. Flo Mello says, it will always be Sky Dome. I couldn't agree with you more. I remember being at Eaton Center, and they were taking entries they had a model of what Sky Dome would look like, and they said, name it. I put my thing in, I don't remember what I said. Maybe call it the Sean Zone. The Sean Dome. But it'll always be Sky Dome for me. Sam Collin 3 says, Sean, I support the police and I appreciate you answering these questions. Much love and stay safe. Same to you, man. I appreciate it. And he further says, just venting out our frustration with how the government is running the country and province. I hear it. I hear a lot. I'm in the comments. I'm interacting with people all the time. I get the frustration. I understand. I think I have to, on that note, say goodbye for the weekend because it just keeps going. And I love you all. I want to stick here and comment and discuss and dialogue and all that jazz. But I got stuff I got to do, and then I got to go home because I'm done in the not too distant future. I start real early. Michaela says, there we go. I thought it didn't go in that. Pressed it again. Stay safe. Remember, don't have a good day. Have a great weekend. I think that's a modification to his regular goodbye. Let's go to his Sun Tzu quote. There is no instance of a country having benefited from prolonged warfare. I would agree. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Sun Tzu had it going on. He knows some stuff. I read that book years ago, and I like it. I like it a lot. I think it was very small. Michael's dad joke. I prepare myself with my button A and button B. What's the worst vegetable to bring on a ship? A leek. I like that. That's a reasonable dad joke. Assuming you know what a leek is. Okay. Are you ready? Oh, I had your dad joke before. You gave it to me again. Okay. Here we go. I had a hen who could count her own eggs. She was a mathema chicken. Come on. Press the button. That's awesome. She was a mathema chicken? That's really good. I like that one a lot. All right. on that note, I will say, what am I going to say? Hold on. I promised I was going to. Hang on a second here. I was going to play the rock version. That's what I was going to do. I was going to play the rock version of the song. Now, did I remember to look for it? No. So maybe I'll play some roadside blues. I did a roadside blues version. Now let's do that.
On the road, I'm feeling low. Frustrations in the air, don't you know?
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Entitled drivers, they got no clue. It's all about them, no regard for you. Driving fast, cutting lanes in a haze, texting and driving, lost in a daze. Me.
That's not exciting. Okay, let's try the other version. I haven't really listened to this. I just threw some stuff into the AI. Drive safe, drive sober, park legally, and smile because it looks good on you.
On the road, I'm feeling low. Frustrations in the air, don't you know?
Let's try this one.
In the early morning, hit the road, no rest inside. Sean the TikTok traffic cop is up ready to fight, answering questions, keeping you out of jams, held up by traffic. Time to take a stand. Just rolling out of bed, gotta get that caffeine fix. Sean's already on the move, no time to mix. He'll tell you about the laws and how to drive right, keeping you safe day and night. Got a question about a ticket, ask without a hitch. Sean's got the answer. Like a wine rush, like a wild beast, but with Sean on your side, you're at peace.
I like that one. That's pretty good. You never know what you're going to get. It's like a box of chocolates or something. All right. Have a great weekend.